listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Thanks for tuning in for this episode, and I wanted to give a shout out to Connie, who gave me a shout out on iTunes reviews. Here's what she posted. Completely life-changing. I am so grateful to Jeanette for starting this podcast. Ever since I began implementing the lessons that she teaches, my life has become filled with more health, wealth, happiness, and love. Connie, that is cool. She says, here's the thing. I don't just listen to Jeanette. I implement her teachings. That is the cherry on top. By applying her easy to understand and fun LOA lessons over time, little by little, my life has transformed. I never miss an episode. Thank you, Jeanette, for helping me to become a conscious creator and living my dream life. Connie, thanks for making my day. That is such fabulous fuel for publishing more of these podcasts. So thanks to you. Okay. Every once in a while, I use a phrase. People aren't sure what I mean. It's when I say, like, you've got to charge on that. Like, if there's a topic that gets them particularly riled up, or if it's something they feel strongly about, especially if it's a topic they visit regularly, the energy behind that, it serves as a powerful magnetic force, one that we probably don't appreciate being on the receiving end of. Because when we've got a charge on something that we don't want, it's just calling in more of it. It's just how law of attraction works. But there are some topics that, yeah, they're like it's not a pet peeve, pet charges. I don't know what else to call it. I don't know a really good word for it. Let me give you an example. Oh my gosh, this was a recent example, not my favorite. Let me back up a little bit. So late last year, I started dating again. And one night, I made spur-of-the-moment plans to meet a new guy for dinner. We'd exchanged emails or texts for a while, but this was the first time we met up in person. Had a great dinner. But at dinner, I discovered that his divorce wasn't final yet. Which technically, could you hear it in my voice? Could you hear it in my voice? Yeah, you could hear it in my voice, right? Yeah. He was married. I was at dinner. You could so hear it in my voice, I can't even pretend to disguise it. I was on a dinner date with a married guy. Okay, that's not my favorite thing. Never in my life have I had entanglements with married men. I'm 48, right? And I'm a Libra sun. Some astrologers have referred to us as the sluts of the zodiac. We get around. Okay, so that's a pretty good track record for me to make it this far without any entanglements with married men. And it is not a track record I am interested in ruining. I do not mess around with any married men. And okay, I'm just going to say it put a damper on dinner, to say the least. I couldn't stop repeating, I cannot believe I'm at dinner with a married man. And I felt kind of bad for him. And frankly, I think he should feel bad. I was like, really? You couldn't wait until it was final? He was like, look, it's been a long time in the works. With the paperwork signed, it's submitted. We're just in the 90-day mandatory waiting period before it's final or whatever. Okay, and it was pretty much falling on deaf ears. All I knew was that this guy was married. I was having a meal with someone else's husband. And he could explain it away all he wants, but that guy's still married. So he felt bad, and I was kind of mad. I was like, oh my gosh, what, do you not like this? You could probably feel my energy around it as I'm describing that to you, right? That's what I mean by having a charge on something. You could tell how I'm kind of hot about it, not in the good kind of hot way, in the uncomfortable kind of hot way. I just got strong feelings. I do really not want to mess around with anyone else's husband. And I'm just going to say here, I don't know where that came from. It's not like I have any trauma as a child, or my husband might have cheated on me. I don't know. It's not like I had this big bad experience and that's where it came from. It just feels out of integrity for me to be engaging someone else's guy. So I told that guy to get back to me when he wasn't married anymore. And he did a good job of staying on my radar in an appropriate way until that was the case. But still, okay. So I got this activated, right? This guy is married. He's off limits. It was bugging me. So it's activated. Fast forward a couple weeks. I had some work done at the house by a really nice guy, really, really super nice guy. In fact, I talked to his wife when I scheduled him to come out. And he had some follow-up reasons to contact me. I had to take a piece of equipment back to him, and they were in our and he was so enjoyable. He was such a great conversationalist, super interesting, had great stories. We really got on really, really well. And there were just a couple of things that he said that I thought, wow, if I didn't know better, like if I hadn't talked to his wife, if I didn't see his ring there, I might take some of those things the wrong way. But long story short, it turns out I got it. Yeah, his interest in me was inappropriate for a married man. Okay, I know we have a lot of cultural rules about what's appropriate and what's not, and I'm not a big fan of rules, but this one I don't like. I do not like being on the receiving end of attention from married men. And this guy was legit married. He wasn't like in the midst of a divorce or separation. He was straight up married. And that never happens to me. Hi, kitty. That's Xena Princess Warrior coming to say hi. This sort of thing. Can you feel me? Like, for other people would take this in stride and laugh it off. For me, it bothered me. And it also doesn't happen very often. The fact that this happened, I was like, what am I vibrating? Because that's a very unusual experience for me. And I realized it happened because I had a charge on that dinner date where I got all my feathers all ruffled because his divorce wasn't final yet. So here I have married man activated, and you know what happens. We can only get what we vibrate. And I had it vibrated so strongly that universe found a way to deliver it to me again, except in a way I liked even less. That might be an extreme example of it. Sometimes the charges we have on things they're a little more subtle. Probably another one I have. I was at the store the other day. You know what? I can hear a screaming baby from the complete other side of the restaurant or the store. I will add, I live in Utah. We have a lot of kids here. There are a lot of parents who are managing a lot of kids. What I mean by that is the ratio of parent to child is a little higher in Utah than it is in other places, maybe a little harder to keep track of them. I personally have never developed an immunity to screaming babies. God bless you parents who have learned how to not lose your cool when your kids lose theirs. I don't know how you do it, but I kind of have a charge on that. And what I've noticed is that, so if we're on an airplane or in a movie theater or a restaurant, guess who's going to end up getting seated next to the baby that starts fussing once I show up? Not usually until I show up, but it's because I have a charge on it. I go to lunch with my dad regularly. My dad does not have this charge. He does not experience it in a negative way. I, on the other hand, oh my gosh, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. And Connie's probably thinking, thanks a lot, Jeanette, for dedicating the screaming baby episode to me. But you know what? There probably is a positive equivalent to this phenomenon. I don't know what we'd call it, but it'd be like having a positive charge on something. Like something that we feel strongly positive about. I'm trying to think of what that might be for me. Oh, I got one maybe. Okay, listening to the Bee Gees, that is automatically always a vibe lifter for me. But you know what? I can't say that I'm like a magnet for Bee Gees songs, even though they have that effect on me. So I don't know, maybe it's a little bit different. I used to have a charge on Animals in Trouble. You guys, I had that one activated so strongly that I couldn't even go to a movie on the weekend without running across a stray cat in the parking lot, or someone would have their dog locked in the back of a car or something along those lines. Once I realized that I was manifesting all that stuff in my world by having such a highly charged focus on it. Xena, do I have a charge on meowing cats while I'm recording audio? This girl's getting delivered to her new home in just, how many more days do we have, girlfriend? Less than 2 weeks together, so we're enjoying every last minute with Xena Princess Warrior here. She's one of the coolest cats I've ever met in my entire life. I absolutely love and adore her. Her foster mom is super lucky to be adopting her. But yeah, once I realized that I was manifesting Animals in Trouble because I had such a highly charged focus on it, I started deliberately choosing a new focus, because that one was painful. In my heart, it was painful. It wore heavily on me. Once I realized that whatever we're focused on, we're getting more of, I learned how to focus differently. I practiced looking for good news with animals and people who were doing right by them, people who cared, and animals who were thriving. That switch in focus has made all the difference. I cannot even tell you what an amazing difference it has made, which isn't just cool to be in a world where it seems like more things are going right than wrong for animals. But for me, vibrationally, that was a big one for me to shift. I used to walk heavily through the world when I kept running into that. And just being willing to train myself into a new focus made a big difference. So the reason I'm talking about this is my suggestion is that if you notice you've got a big charge on something, something that you maybe don't like, in fact, you can notice if you've got a charge on something, because if something that you don't want keeps happening in your world, okay, there's a clue. And recognizing that could be your catalyst to do something about it, to switch your focus, to develop a new habit of thought on that subject so it doesn't keep manifesting in your world. I'm laughing that my response is to go record a podcast episode on how much I don't like attention from married men. Okay, you know what? Why don't I just clean that up right here, right now? No time like the present, right? I can replace it with something positive, like good, positive, appreciative attention from positive, appropriate people. Like lots of love flowing here, the kind that feels good, the kind that feels good to give and to receive, that's easy to enjoy. Or maybe I could just even activate respect, lots of respect and integrity. Yeah, lots of that. Okay, just even focusing in that way helps clean up what I was vibrating so I can remove that charge I had off that subject that I started this podcast with. And having a positive focus on respect or integrity or positive attention or appreciation, that's a good thing to have a charge on. But you know what? When I use that word, for me, it really does have a negative connotation. Maybe others use it differently. And I'm sure there's a word for what it is when we have a positive charge on something. For me, that's a different word. I'm not thinking of it right off the top of my head. If you know that word, will you email it to me? Thank you. And thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to wish you happy manifesting, fellow creators. Bye, everyone.